Hello and welcome to the Argus Metal Movers podcast. I'm here with John Walker from Tees Valley Lithium. I'm Tom Kavanagh, and let's get started. So, John, if you could give us a brief overview of the project Tees Valley Lithium.
Yes, certainly, Tom. So, Tees Valley Lithium, we building 96,000 tonne lithium hydroxide refinery in Teesside. We announced our intentions to do this back in February this year. We're looking at Wilton International Chemicals Park, plug and play chemicals park in the northeast. Lots of certified green energy there. Lots of big industrial companies have chosen this for their facility. From our perspective, these are giving us an accelerated project. You know, our site benefits from green energy, demineralized water, processed water, steam, everything that we need for our process is there. So this allows us to just rock up, build our facility, plug in our equipment, and away we go. So it's a really great location. It's leveraging the chemical heritage of the northeast of England. And of course, with all the green energy that's available in this particular region as well, it's very important to us. We've set our facility up to be as flexible as possible, so we can accept lithium sulfate from spodumene, we can accept lithium carbonate from a brine or a mica source, and we can also accept lithium sulfate from battery recycling. And we're one of the few facilities in the world that's capable of producing both lithium hydroxide and lithium carbonate. So we can serve both the NMC chemistries and also the LFP battery chemistries.
And you're a subsidiary of Alchemy, right?
That's correct. So we're a wholly owned subsidiary of Alchemy Capital Investments, who are on the London Stock Exchange and the Frankfurt Stock Exchange.
Why did you choose lithium sulfate as a primary processing feedstock?
Well, for us, we saw the development of the European lithium industry as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reorganise the supply chain to make it robust, sustainable, and also so it didn't touch China. This isn't because of any anti-Chinese sentiment. It's purely because China today control 90% of the world's lithium market, and they need all of that lithium for their own decarbonisation plans. So consequently, it means that Europe needs to build supply chains which are independent of of China. So while we were doing this, we were looking at how do we be as efficient and as low carbon as possible, and of course, shipping spodumene, which is it's SC6, which is 6% Li2O or 3% lithium. So if you're shipping it from Australia or South America or Canada or Africa to the UK, you're basically shipping 97% waste because it's only the 3% of lithium that's in it that you're going to use. So to us, we looked at the most economic way and the most low carbon way to concentrate it, which was then to say, okay, let's make lithium sulfate as close as possible to the mine site as we can. And then we're reducing our volume shipped by between 75 to 80%. So consequently, from a carbon perspective and a logistics perspective, concentrating up to lithium sulfate makes a great deal of sense.
That sulfate feed's going to come from the north of Australia, right? Via which port?
Correct. So we're looking to build a lithium sulfate facility at Port Hedland in Western Australia. Port Hedland's the largest bulk export port in Australia, and also it's a significant container export location also. It's also in very close proximity to a lot of spodumene projects in Western Australia. So we have a lot of choice of companies that we can actually buy spodumene for. But we don't. We can also accept a technical grade lithium carbonate from South America. That wouldn't be an issue for us. And also, as the the various micro projects around the world come online, our sale to them is very much, well, look, don't try and make an EV grade lithium carbonate straight off the bat. Just make a technical grade one and ship it to us, and then we'll do the following the final polishing steps and make the EV grade lithium hydroxide.
So some of the brine projects, for example, in the UK or something, or Europe, they could potentially feed you as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we've signed MOUs already with some of the UK-based brine junior miners. And our intention will be at some point that when it's technically and economically feasible, then we'll look to use these sources for us.
Okay. And you said you can produce lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate. I wonder, what do you think is the best option for Europe? Given the success of LFP in China, but then you've also got NCM capacity in Europe. So which product do you believe is more relevant and profitable?
Yeah, so I mean, it's horses for courses in this situation. I mean, if you want to eliminate range anxiety and you're going to have a premium vehicle, then you're going to use the NCM or NMC chemistries for these batteries. That needs lithium hydroxide. On the LFP side, for smaller, cheaper vehicles, smaller batteries, more kind of the budget range of the spectrum, then LFP is clearly the way that's going, and probably the same for stationary energy storage as well. There are some technologies out there that make LFP chemistries, but they start with lithium hydroxide as well. Particularly the one developed by Johnson Matthey. So this is also another potential market for us. I think most people at the moment are predicting roughly a 50-50 split for lithium hydroxide and lithium carbonate demand in Europe. So if we consider 2030 demand is forecast to be about 700,000 tonnes, lithium hydroxide market would be about roughly 350,000 tonnes. So we would be at 96,000 tonnes of capacity. We'd be serving around 30% of that market.
Okay. And I mean, what percentage of your offtake could you shift to carbonate if you wanted to?
So for our balance is roughly 20 to 25% of our capacity. We can shift to produce lithium carbonate instead of lithium hydroxide. And we'll just balance that depending on what the demand is in the market at that time.
Sure. So there's optionality going to be built into the refinery.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, our ethos has been build a very robust process to allow multiple feeds, to give a great flexibility in terms of where we're taking the lithium from. Set the facility up from day one to be able to accept recycled material coming from battery scrap recycling initially, and then in a few years' time, end-of-life batteries as well. So we're kind of future-proofing our facility to be able to accept multiple feeds, and then also producing two end products to ensure that we can flex if the market changes.
And you're in the Wilton Chemical Park up in Teesside. I mean, we've got other projects popping up in Teesside as well. What are the benefits of being in that chemical park and Teesside as a whole for batteries? Sure.
So I think for us, what attracted us was very much the plug-and-play nature of Wilton itself, because the infrastructure is all there and in place. We're not having to wait for sites to be cleared and infrastructure to be installed. It's there today. So that's key for us. There's plenty of certified green energy available for us to use. I mean, we've developed an electrochemical process, so we're replacing chemicals with high carbon footprints with green energy. So it's important for us from a carbon perspective that we have that certified green energy available. The other great thing about the Northeast, you have its chemical heritage. So you have a high degree of talented workforce with the right experience and qualifications. Labour rates in the region compare very, very well to not only to other parts of the UK, but other locations where we've looked at in Europe. You've got Europe's largest industrial development site at Teesside, over 4,000 acres of land being developed. So once we build our facility, of course, we want cathode active material producers and gigafactories, etc., to co-locate or near us in Teesside. So having that space there is also very important to the development of the supply chain in the northeast of England.
Yeah, and we've seen some of those gigafactories that have been popping up, Envision, Britishvolt. I think in recent months there has been some turbulence with some of these projects. How have the most recent few months in the UK and the events in the UK economy changed investors' outlook when it comes to some of these battery projects?
Yeah, it's a good question, Tom. I mean, the need to decarbonise through electrification is a non-negotiable item. I think with every consumer in the world now has embraced the fact that we need to decarbonise, or at least the majority of people have. So in order to do that, you're going to have you're going to convert the transport system to being electrified and away from fossil fuels, and you've got to find a way of balancing the generation of renewable energy with our demand patterns. And everything, the two things or the one thing that's constant between those two things is the lithium-ion battery. It is the technology for electric vehicles. It's the most popular technology for stationary energy storage, although there are some alternatives on the stationary energy storage side. So for us, you've got to look at the fundamentals. The big mega trend is decarbonisation through electrification, which means you've got to have batteries. So for us, while we might see some temporary turmoil in the market, which is, I don't think, unexpected given what the world has been through with over the last couple of years. Fundamentally, batteries are here and they're here to stay, and batteries need lithium.
It's interesting that you've chosen to work with Traxys. I mean, what do they, as a big trading company, what are they bringing to the table for your project? Yeah,
so I mean, building the first and largest lithium hydroxide refinery in Europe is a real challenge. We've chosen very carefully our strategic partners to do this. So we have Wave International on the engineering side as an example. Wave have built lithium refineries. They've worked on countless lithium projects over the past 20 years and are a big part of our team. Traxys is the same. I mean, this is a large trading house. They're able to get a very global coverage. They're assisting us with, as we've said, with sourcing material for our project in Wilton. That doesn't mean that we're not talking to the junior miners. Clearly we are, and we'll continue to do that. But Traxys are bringing us economies of scale, speed, size advantages, which as a startup company we have to be very careful where we put our resources, and we don't spread ourselves too thin. So having these strategic partners is really important to us.
Sure. And maybe last question, a bit more of a light question. I mean, what's your personal connection to lithium?
Yeah, so from my perspective, so firstly I'm Cornish. So in the UK, I live in the mining district in Cornwall. I can see the lithium potential mining projects from my spare bedroom window. So I'm right in the industry. I have worked in with the lithium project in Cornwall as well. I spent more than 20 years working for Imerys as well, who's the land and mineral rights owner of lithium in Cornwall. Worked on a number of different projects around the world, spodumene in North America, lithium brine projects in Argentina. I've got family living in the lithium triangle in South America, and I'm currently building a house in Salta. So from my perspective, it's lithium has become a big part of my life over the last few years, and trying now to support development of lithium activities in the northeast of England, supporting UK automotive, and then hopefully in the future being able to work more extensively in this industry within the UK as well. I think would be a great thing to do. There's lots of publicity about the fact that you have a number of lithium resources in the UK. It would be nice to be, to help these regions develop, and then when it's technically and economically feasible, to actually source lithium closer to home rather than having to bring it in from overseas.
So lithium through and through.
Yep, definitely.
Thanks a lot, John, and thanks for listening to the podcast and watching us here. Please visit argusmedia.com if you want any more. I'm Tom Kavanagh, and thanks for watching.